Silence filled courtroom 4B. All eyes were on Sarah Connors, the woman her husband, Richard Sterling, had relentlessly painted as weak and unstable. She sat alone at the defendant's table, her hands resting calmly on a stack of worn-out files. Across the aisle, Richard sat with his team of 3 elite lawyers, smugly checking his Rolex. He thought he had already won. He'd taken her home, her money, her reputation, and her dignity. But Richard Sterling made one critical error. He mistook her silence for weakness. Just 3 months earlier, Sarah was peacefully repotting orchids in the sunroom of their Greenwich mansion when the doorbell rang. It was a process server, flanked by private security. "Mrs. Sterling," one of them said, his voice cold as ice, "your access to this home has been revoked. You have one suitcase." Richard had thrown his wife of 22 years out, sending her to a cheap roadside motel. But Sarah didn't scream. She packed practical clothes, leaving behind the jewels and even her wedding ring. She walked out with a single suitcase and drove away. In a gas station parking lot, she allowed herself 5 minutes to cry. Then, she got to work. Richard immediately froze every joint bank account and hired a team of legal sharks to completely crush her spirit. But Sarah wasn't looking for pity. She was looking for the truth. She spent countless late nights in the public library, poring over years of financial records, old tax files, hidden vendor invoices, and fake consulting firms. One name kept appearing over and over: Apex Holdings. She knew she couldn't fight this alone, so she found a lawyer no one saw coming, a young, scrappy outsider named Ben Miller. Together they dug deeper, and soon, they uncovered the truth. Richard was hiding millions of dollars in offshore accounts, all under his mistress's name. The trial quickly turned into a media circus. Richard's team paraded a string of fake witnesses to the stand, each one attempting to paint Sarah as emotionally unstable. He called her irrational. He called her hysterical. Then, Ben Miller called Richard's new girlfriend, Lydia Banks, to the stand, and that's when Richard's entire world began to collapse. Lydia admitted she had signed documents to open shell companies. She confessed that Richard had explicitly told her to hide the money so that Sarah would never be able to touch it. Desperate to save himself, Richard took the stand. He lied under oath, denying everything. He claimed the money wasn't his, that it belonged to business partners, that it was all a big misunderstanding. Then, the judge, looking at him over her glasses, asked one simple question: "Mr. Sterling, if this money isn't yours, then you won't mind if the court donates the entire sum to charity?" The courtroom went still. Richard panicked. His composure shattered. He shouted, "No, it's mine." And with those 2 words, he destroyed himself. The judge immediately ordered his passport to be confiscated. All his assets were frozen, pending a federal investigation. When asked if she had anything to add, Sarah stood up. She looked directly at her husband, her voice quiet but firm. "Richard once asked me what I would do without him. I'd like to answer that question now. I'm going to survive, I'm going to breathe, and most importantly, I'm going to take half." Then she turned and walked out of the courtroom, not as a broken victim, but as a powerful survivor, ready to start her new life.